All right, so let's dive in. So the title of this presentation is 100,000 followers in 90 days. I know that sounds crazy insane, but I can assure you that's something that we do day in, day out, and is very much our bread and butter over here on the creative team. And I'm going to break down exactly how that works. In fact, here's my promise to you guys for today. In this session, I'm going to be sharing some practical, actionable advice that's going to help you get massive views fast. Who here wants more views on their content? Put a thumbs up or a yes, me in the chat. If you want more views on your content, let us know in the chat over here. Who doesn't really? Who doesn't want more views on their content? We're also going to be showing some real world tried and tested strategies that you can apply today. Nothing complicated, no tricks and no hacks. Mainly, we're going to be focusing on how to get millions of views in a matter of days. Again, I know that sounds crazy, but we're going to show you how to do that. B, how to grow 100,000 followers in just a few months. We've had lots and lots of people who have done this with us, and I'm going to be sharing the exact strategy for that. Nothing held back in this one. And then we're going to show you how to create an endless supply of leads for your content and into your business. And then, of course, we're going to show you how to make a global impact with content. Does something in that list sound like something that you want? Do you want to make an impact? Do you want to get more leads? Do you want to grow your following? Want to grow your business on social? Let me know if there's something in that list that you guys want. Put a yes in the chat. Let me know that you guys are all listening in, because that's what we're going to be covering today. Okay, because ultimately we want to help you change your life, grow your business with what you have here in Macroactive. Grow your business and change your life with the power of content and your brand on social, so that you can post one post like this, get hundreds of thousands of views, and generate over 5,000 leads with one post. That would be pretty good. But here's a better thing. Once that post is out there, it keeps generating leads 24/7 on its own. And that's the beauty of content, is you're generating these leads for free with organic content and continuing to grow with that as well. Now, for those of you I haven't met before, hi, everybody. My name's Dan. I am a 43-year-old guy with 3 kids. There's nothing special about me. Except for the fact that I specialize in helping people grow on social, and you can do exactly the same too. If any of you are thinking, I'm too old for this, or, I'm past it, or this is difficult, or I don't understand it, or, it's too late for me, I can assure you it's not too late for you. I didn't start this until I was 39. And, I've been able to grow myself as well. So, all of you can do this. Okay. Whether you have a baby like Micah or not, you can absolutely do this as well, okay? And everything I'm showing today is absolutely within your, realm of possibility. In fact, here's Maggie, who grew 10,000 followers in just 30 days, and she did that, and she's a grandma, okay? She's an 80-year-old grandma who grew 10,000 followers in 30 days, okay? And so, no excuses, everybody. We know you guys can do that, okay? And over here in the studio, we've helped people grow 5 million followers and 1 billion views for our students. Again, I know that sounds crazy, but that's what we really focus on. And I want to break down how that works. Okay, so let's dive into how is it that we're able to grow people so fast, able to help people scale their fitness business on social, all organically with content and literally just one post a day. So let's dive into how that works. So right now we are in a war for attention. You have literally all of these subscriptions all asking for your attention right now. You've got HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount, Disney, Shudder, Prime Video. How many of you have got multiple subscriptions to multiple TV networks at this one moment in time? And how many of you are feeling like you actually don't even have enough time to even watch the content on one of those, let alone across all of those? Okay, there is a war for attention right now. And, everyone is vying for that same attention. But the problem is everyone's also giving out contradictory advice. I was on my feed like a couple of days ago, and I was just going through my feed and looking at some ads that I was going through. And the first ad said, I need to grow my business up to 7 figures a month using Facebook ads. And then the next ad said, don't use ads, use appointment setters. And then the next ad says, don't use ads or appointment setters, use AI to grow your business. How many of you are feeling overwhelmed by the amount of content that's out there and the amount of contradictory messages that are out there? It feels like, no one's agreeing on anything, and you're being pushed and pulled in all kinds of different directions, and it's overwhelming. And it makes creating content for yourself very difficult, because it's hard to know exactly what it is that you should be creating or doing. Anyone feel like that? all a little bit overwhelming? You know, it is really difficult. And so the experts tell you things like this. They first tell you to post tons of content multiple times a day across every single platform, as much as is humanly possible, to post tons and tons of content, and then use all the hacks and tricks, hashtags, trending audio, best time to post, you know, length of post, all of these hacks and tricks that they're telling you to use. And your head is spinning trying to just make a normal post whilst taking in all of these hacks and tricks. And apparently that's not enough. So you also need to spend hours and hours and hours engaging on social just to be able to grow. And then if that's not enough, you have to constantly reinvent yourself, making new and different types of content all the time, in desperately trying to chase views and the algorithm. And you're constantly having to reinvent yourself all of the time. And in the meantime, you have to build more and more products, right? Because apparently one product is enough. So you've got to generate all these leads and build all these products and do all these actions. And all these people are telling you to do more and more stuff, you know, and that's something that, you know, we really focus here on Macroactive is simplifying, right, to what you really need to do. But everyone's telling you to do more and more stuff with crazy complicated funnels, and then give away everything you know, share literally everything you know in your content. And if that's not enough, you then need to add even more value, because apparently sharing everything you know isn't enough value. You have to add even more value than you're already doing. Does that feel like what you guys are experiencing right now? Let me know in the chat if that's you. Put a me in the chat if this is resonating, if you feel like some of these things are, you know, where you think content is in the moment, right? Landry says me, yeah. Jen says me, yeah. It's just, it's a lot. It's overwhelming, right? It's overwhelming. But here's the thing. If value was the driver of content, then encyclopedias would be the best-selling book of all time 24/7, wouldn't they? Right? They'd always be it. But of course they're not. Encyclopedias are not constantly being bought all the time. Why is that? Because value isn't actually the secret to growing on social. In fact, most people will never grow a big following on social. And the reason for that is because most people are guessing what to make. They're guessing. How many of you wake up each day and go, I don't know what to post today, and they come up with an idea out of your own head? Put a yes in the chat if any of you guys do that. Put a yes in the chat. Let me know. You wake up each day and go, yeah, okay, I have literally no idea what to post. Okay, let me go and hunt around for some ideas, right? Put lots of yeses. Wellness Emotion says yes, yeah? Most people are guessing what to make. And here's the problem. When you come up with an idea out of your own head, you actually have no idea whether that's something that people are actually looking for, right? Whether that's something that people are actually looking for when it comes to their content, okay? Or if that idea is even proven to work. And so because you're guessing and you don't know whether that idea is proven to work, if it does work, you don't know why it worked. How many of you have had some videos on your socials that have done well and you've literally no idea why they did well? Put a me in the chat if that's you. Yeah? You got some videos you're like, oh my God, I got 10,000 views. Oof, you know, I don't know why that is. And so because you don't know why it is, you keep on guessing, right? And see success as luck. How many of you got a video with high views and said, oh, that was lucky? You thought to yourself, oh, that was lucky. Anyone? Jen says it's infuriating. It is infuriating, Jen. It's very infuriating, right? And so, of course, you see success as luck. And you see virality as luck. You're like, oh, yeah, that guy got lucky. That guy went viral. That guy got lucky. Or that video did well. They're just lucky, right? Or this video did well. That's just lucky. That was a lucky video. But of course, because you see it as luck, it's impossible to recreate, okay? And so that's the core problem. But here's the secret to all of this stuff, is we live in a binge culture right now. People want to watch stuff they like. And when they find stuff that they like, they want to watch that all the time. How many of you get upset when a new TV show comes out and you have to wait a week in between episodes instead of the whole season being dropped all at one time? Anyone here a binge watcher for TV? It's frustrating when you're like, oh my God, I have to wait a week for the next episode. What's going on? That's, you know, people want to find stuff they like and they want to binge stuff that they like. okay? Because that's the way people consume content at the moment. In fact, here's an interesting stat for you. The CEO of Netflix said there is one thing that is the biggest enemy of Netflix. Does anyone know what it was? He said, the CEO of Netflix said there's the number one thing that's preventing Netflix from growing. Right? Does anyone know what it was? Whether is it another company, for example? The answer is, he said the number one thing that's preventing Netflix from growing is that people sleep. That's it. It's not another company. It's not other competitors in the market. It's because people sleep too much. And if they had their own way, they would try and make people sleep less. That's the number one thing that's stopping them from growing. And so that's just indicative of consumption right now. People are binge watching content, okay? And here's the secret. This is something that we learned is virality comes from predictability and not creativity, okay? Virality comes from predictability and not creativity, i.e., you coming up with ideas out of your own head every day is actually the worst thing you could possibly do to grow on social. Because that's not how people's consumption habits actually work in the real world. Is that an aha moment for anyone? Okay. The amount of variation on your social is what's reducing your reach on social. Okay. And so what we want to do is this is how most people create content. It's essentially a game of roulette. They say to themselves, oh, I'm going to make a post today and I'm going to throw that post out there and I'm going to spin the wheel and I'm going to bet on black 10, okay, and lucky black number 10. And if the ball lands on lucky black number 10, we win. And if it doesn't, we lose. And of course, the probability of losing is extremely high on winning on roulette. And so the longer you play, the more you lose. How many of you feel like you've been doing social for ages and you're not growing, and no matter how much effort you put in, you're still losing and you're still not getting the traction that you want? Okay. Because the longer you play, if you're guessing, the longer you play, the more you lose. It's just like a roulette wheel. So how do we fix that? Well, what if the game was rigged? And what if instead of guessing on a number on roulette, we didn't know the exact number the ball would land in, but what if we knew the quadrant the ball was going to land in? But we still had the same odds. We still had the same payout. Would you bet more? If you knew the ball was going to land in one of 10 numbers, but you got paid out 64 times your bet, would you bet more? That's the key for content, is what we're going to do. And what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about how to rig that game. And here's how we rig the game so that you guys actually win. Okay. We do that by reverse engineering attention, i.e. looking at what works and doing that. I know it sounds simple, but it's the number one thing that's holding people back, because not every topic is equal. So it's tempting to think, oh, Dan, I've got all this cool stuff in my head and I want to talk about all the different stuff in my head. But just because you think it's interesting doesn't mean the rest of the world thinks it's interesting. Okay, because not all topics is equal. For example, let's say you've got two posts today. One is about how to use a typewriter and one is about how to use ChatGPT. Which one is more likely to do better? Let me know in the chat. One's about how to use a typewriter. One's about how to use ChatGPT. Which one's more likely to do better? Let me know in the chat. Jesse's fastest there. ChatGPT. Yeah. Landry, ChatGPT, De Silva, ChatGPT. Of course, right? ChatGPT is more likely to do better. But here's the thing. I haven't told you how many hashtags that I'm using. I haven't told you what trending audio I'm using. I haven't told you how long that video is. I haven't told you where the eye line is on the camera. I haven't told you any of those things. So how do you know ChatGPT is more likely to do better when I haven't told you about all of the hacks? How do you know it? Of course, we know it because ChatGPT is just inherently more interesting right now than anything else. Jesse, way more people are talking about it. There you go, Jesse, nailed it. Yeah, way more people are talking about it. Okay, and that's the key. That is the secret to growing on social, is you need to talk about the things that other people are watching and consuming. And again, I know this sounds obvious, but the act of doing it is why, or the lack of that is why people aren't growing. Okay, and the good news is you don't need to figure this stuff out. You can go ahead and look, as the answers are already out there for you to be able to find. Literally, all you need to do is go on your feed and look at what is getting the views right now And that is the content that you should be making. Now, I know what you're going to say, Dan. Say, Dan, yeah, I get that, Dan. I can see the stuff that people are watching, and I can see the stuff, you know, but I don't want to make that stuff, because you think that the way you stand out is by talking about stuff that no one cares about. Hey, Dan, everyone's doing that, so I'm going to talk about something else. Anyone guilty of that? Everybody's doing that. I'm going to talk about something else. Oh, everyone's making that, so I'm going to talk about something else. But of course, not everyone's doing that. It's just that your feed is surfacing the content that it thinks you're going to like the most, which is the content people are watching. Okay, so not everyone's doing it. In fact, only 1% of people are making content that actually performs well. It's just that you only see the 1% because algorithms are designed to show you the best of what's out there. But 99% of people are doing it wrong, but you never see that. Okay. So it's not that everyone else is doing it. It's just your feed shows you the best stuff. And that's the stuff that people are watching. Is this helping change some mindsets, guys? Let me know in the chat. Okay. Because this is the core number one thing. If you can click this, everything will change for you. Okay. And so if you say, Dan, yeah, but everyone's talking about that, but so I'm going to talk about something else, something that's completely random and that no one is really watching anymore, i.e. typewriters. I'm going to talk about typewriters, right? Then you're going to immediately slash your views, because you're talking about typewriters instead of talking about the ChatGPT of fitness. For example, just, you know, little insight here. If you are not talking about stretching right now, you are massively missing out. Stretching is massively viral right now. Why? Because everyone sat down after COVID, they're still sat down and they're working from home and they're super stiff. And a lot of people care about stretching at the moment. If you're not talking about stretching, you're just leaving views on the table. It's as simple as that. Okay. And so our goal is this. There are about 1,000 topics in your niche that you could talk about. There's about 5 that people actually care about. Who knows the 5 biggest things in fitness right now that are being talked about? Anyone? Let me know in the chat. Yes or no, or a maybe in the chat. Yes or a no, the maybe. Weighted vests. Jesse, well done. Weighted vests are big right now. Yeah. Jen, menopause. Yeah, it's pretty big. It's not the biggest, but there are people talking about it. Yeah. Pretty big. If you do not know what these 5 things are, that's your homework, okay? To go find out what those 5 things are, okay? Because that's the key. There's also about 1,000 formats that you could make. Formats are the types of videos. Is it a storytelling video? Is it a short video with a this or that? You know, like if you want this muscle, do this. If you want this muscle, do this. That's a format. Okay, there's also about 1,000 formats that you could make. There's about 5 that people actually care about right now. Okay, Katrina, hormonal effects on weight loss, quite niche, a bit too narrow, but I like your thinking there. Okay, there's about 5 formats that people actually want to watch. So instead of spending all of your time and energy guessing what works, trying to come up with ideas out of your own head, not knowing which one to do, guessing every time you wake up, getting stressed out, coming up with content ideas, instead of worrying about spending all of your time, energy guessing what works or fighting what you're seeing, which you know people are watching, but you're not willing to make yourself, I encourage you to spend all of your energy on making what works uniquely yours. Okay, so if you want to grow on social, you make the stuff that people are watching, but you do that in a way that is unique to you. Okay, because the individuality, the personality, the personal brand element, that doesn't come from topics. That doesn't come from formats. It comes from your personality and your charisma. The problem is you're tamping down all of that charisma because you're guessing about ideas and all the things. I want you to take what's already working out there and then just make it uniquely yours. Bring your charisma, bring your personality. Are you upfront and personal? Are you funny? Are you laid back? Are you quiet? Are you methodical? Like, what is it about you that makes you you? I want you to bring that amazing side of you into your content, because that's the thing that's really going to drive your views, is bringing the you into your content and stop guessing on what to create for your content. And so you're going to say like, yeah, but Dan, I'll just be making the same shit as everybody else. Okay. That's often the response here. They're like, Dan, yeah, but I've seen that stuff on my feed, but I don't want to be making this stuff. Oh, but that's why you're not growing. Okay. That's why you're struggling to grow at the moment, is because you think something is popular and therefore has no value. Oh, everyone's making that, and so therefore it has no value, so therefore I'm going to do something completely different. Anyone feel like that? Anyone guilty of that? It's okay, it's absolutely normal. But does anyone feel like that's how they react to this stuff? Okay, you think everyone else is doing it, and so therefore if you did it, it therefore makes you irrelevant, or, you know, undermines your personal brand. But your personal brand is built from the you side of it, not from the topics and the formats. Built from the you side of it. Okay, and so just because something is popular doesn't mean it has no value. For example, when the Super Bowl is running, are you going to say, oh, well, everyone's watching the Super Bowl, and so, you know, I'm going to do something completely different, right? Just because something's popular doesn't mean it doesn't have any value. Okay, and if you won't accept the data that you see, the stuff that's actually working, then you're going to struggle to grow, because the data is there. Okay, because ultimately it's not about you, it's about your consumers. You're not the consumer of your content. Right, the value of content is decided by the consumer of that content, which is indicated in the.
No, I'm just gonna.
Sorry, let me just mute the person. The value of your content is communicated through the data of the content that people consume. That's what people are watching. That's what they're finding valuable. So that's the stuff that you want to be making, and then of course bringing your brand into that. Okay. The problem is, for most guys, the problem is you know too much. You're cursed with your own expertise. I'm the same. You're cursed. We're cursed with our own expertise. We know too much. Okay. And so we want to like add all of this extra complexity and detail to stuff because we know all of that detail. But here's why that doesn't work. The way people search for content is like a patient going to a doctor's. Okay. When a patient goes to a doctor says, hey, doctor, my tummy hurts. And the doctor replies, that'll be intestinal ischemia caused by inflammation to the intestine from inadequate blood supply. To which the patient says, huh? I don't understand. It's too complicated, right? That's a very confusing response. And for a lot of people on social, this is the way they communicate. Okay, they're trying to pile on all their expertise and make things too complicated, and then immediately taking themselves out of what people are actually watching. Okay, and so the real breakthrough for you guys is, if you want to grow on social, you need to remember that patients talk in symptoms and doctors talk in diagnoses. Okay, and your consumers are patients. Okay, so they look for what is seemingly simple stuff to you because it seems simple to you because you're the expert. Okay, so they look for simple stuff and simple tricks to deal with the symptoms that they can observe in themselves at any one moment in time. And those symptoms are going to be quite simple, because you can't search for what you don't know yet. Okay, a person cannot search for what they don't know yet. They can't search for what they don't know yet. Katrina says, sometimes I feel like what I know, everyone else knows too, and that's why I don't talk about it. I can assure you, Katrina, that is A, not the case, but also B, your unique experience, angle, and take on what you know is what makes you so compelling. That's your superpower, okay? So it's not about, you know, what you know or don't know. If any of us looked at our Google histories, you would see that the stuff you Google is, you know, unbelievably basic. Okay, so just because something feels basic doesn't mean it's not valuable to somebody else, and just because someone else might know something the same as you doesn't mean that your wisdom is undermined at all. Here's something that I learned. The people that are going to buy from you, they're not connected to every single person in the world. Okay, so let's say I needed a plumber for my house. I don't have the option of choosing any plumber in the entire of the UK. I only get to choose the plumbers that are in my shortlist, in my Rolodex. Yeah. And it's the same for you, Katerina. You're not trying to beat everybody else. You're just trying to be in the address book of a person watching. And that person will only have a few people in their address book. And if you do it right, you'll be the #1 person in that address book. Okay, you're not competing with the entire world. You are only competing with the people that person is following in this specific niche. Okay, which is a very small number of people. And so if you focus on just delivering good content that you know that they need, sure, someone else might be talking about it, but they're not following that guy. Okay, just deliver good content about the thing that they need, and then do that in a way with your own amazing personality, you'll win. Okay, that is literally as simple as it is. Blender, I just want a video to go viral to bring followers and money. This is exactly how you do it. This is exactly how you do it. Okay. And so if you want to go viral, if you want to get views, you've got to be thinking like patience, and you've got to be making videos that are around the symptoms that your people suffer from. The symptoms. Okay. Because what people search for will probably be different to how you describe yourself. Okay, what they search for is simple symptoms. My back hurts, my leg hurts, I'm stiff, right? You know, I feel bloated, I'm overweight. They search for these things: how to lose weight, how to be less stiff. That's what they search for, because they don't know, they're not an expert. They can't search for the complicated stuff that you know. Okay, so they search for the simple stuff, and that's where you meet them. That's what we call a good hook, is something that responds to the simple symptoms that people care about. And then once they're in the room, i.e. they're watching your video, then you can go into all the detail and change their mind. Okay, you've got to get them in the room first and then change their mind. Okay, you get them in the room by talking about the simple things that they care about, and then once they're watching your video, you can then go into your expertise. Most people get this the wrong way around. They start with the complicated first, and that's why you're not getting any views. Is this helping everybody? You've got to keep it simple. Got to keep it simple. Then once they're in the room and they're watching your video, then you can go into all the detail and the expertise, and that's awesome. But you've got to be able to simplify to get them in the room in the first place. That's the key. Okay, because obviously if you can't describe yourself, how can an algorithm know who to show you content for you? If the way you describe yourself is really complicated, how can an algorithm know who to show you content to? Okay, so we've got to keep it really, really simple. Here's an example. So this is Dan. So Dan grew over 50,000 followers in 90 days with a brand new account, absolutely brand new account. He helps people grow online, okay, in his fitness coaching. And he started making all of this different stuff: losing sales, paying clients, getting me more clients, you know, personal trainers, lots and lots and lots of variation. But just like we discovered way back when, the variation of his content was actually killing his reach, because it was too unpredictable. It was like you never quite knew what he was going to be making. And so as soon as we tapped him into some of these viral formats, which were more like don't do this, do this formats, he started to grow, because that's what people are looking for. If you think of a person who's brand new to the gym, what is the first thing that someone does when they are brand new to a gym? Let me know in the chat. What's the first thing they do when they're brand new to a gym? Okay, let me know in the chat what it is. First thing that people do when they're brand new to a new gym. Let's see who can get this first. Okay. Now, when someone's brand new to a gym, the first thing that they do, and they're made to do, is an induction on how to use the machines. Now, if they were to skip that induction and use the machines wrong, would they get good results at the gym or bad results at the gym? Potentially. Okay. Go to the staff, watch others, compare, right? Learn, right? They want to know how to use the equipment that they're using properly, because if they use the equipment properly, then all of this other complicated stuff, if they don't use the equipment properly, all the other complicated stuff won't come together. Okay. And so Dan got millions upon millions of views simply by making some of his content, just teaching people the basics on how to even use a machine properly, which to you guys is going to feel, you know, patronizingly obvious, but to someone who doesn't do weight training is actually very important. These formats are still viral now as well, right? Okay, he got over 100 million views in 8 weeks, okay, and thousands of warm leads, because his content was super savable, it was easy to digest, and then he bookmarked his expert content with content that was really accessible. Andy, how do we do this way before someone who is going to the gym, just walking? You'd be surprised at how much content there is about, just how to walk properly, right? A lot of people aren't even putting their foot down. Like, there's a lot of content about running and running styles that's super viral right now because people just don't run properly. They don't land properly. They don't lift their legs properly. Blendar, use them wrong, definitely. 80% of them are using wrong. Exactly, Blendar, right? So if they're using the machines wrong, then all of the extra advice you're going to give them might be completely nullified because they're actually not even using the machine right in the first place. And so it's really important that we meet people where they're at and go, okay, I'm an expert, but I understand that, you're starting from scratch. And he managed to build a $30,000 a month coaching business within 90 days from having a brand new account, simply by creating content that really works. Okay, this is Josh, and he grew 60,000 followers in 90 days. He's a martial arts and nutrition specialist. So he helps people get fit in martial arts. And one of the things he focused on was stretching and mobility. Because he was doing kickboxing, mobility is really important because you need to be able to get your legs high up. Okay, and so we focus on stretching and mobility for him, and he made mobility exercises that also got millions upon millions of views. Very simple content that anyone can make, just showing some core stretches for some of the martial arts that he did and the nutrition that he was specifying. He grew 60,000 followers in those 90 days, and again grew a multiple 5-figure business in just a matter of months, simply by making what works and then spending the rest of the time putting his personality in. He's made some amazing videos where he has like this sort of video game style where he like compares two people in the gym because he loves video games. So he made these amazing videos where he sort of compares two people in the gym. This is Lat, the nutritionist. I don't think he'll mind me saying, when Lat joined us, he's not a particularly charismatic guy, okay? He was quite awkward. He was super scientist. So he's got like a master's and 2 PhDs in nutrition. He's also a qualified doctor. He is, very, very highly qualified. The problem was he couldn't translate. He knew so much. He couldn't translate all this expertise into simple language that other people could understand and communicate that in a way that was accessible. He was just making, all of his content was just way too complicated and overwhelming. And so he struggled. And so what we focused on was breaking his content down into simple, accessible things. For example, ketones is one of the places that he focused on. Ketones, testosterone, metabolism was some of his core pillars of his content strategy and ones that he advised on. And so we specifically focused on these really key topics and then created content that presented these key topics in a way that matched the kinds of content that people watched and the way in which people watched it. Bledar, I've got a question. Should we post 1 time or 2 times in socials? You only need to post up to 1 post a day, and you can batch those posts, you can schedule them up front. But all you need to do is move towards 1 post a day. If you can't get to 1 post a day, it's absolutely fine. Post as much as you can. But whatever you do, just post consistently. Once per day at most, right? And so, but what posting once per day isn't daily posting. Posting once per day is 7 scheduled posts per week, and you can batch your posts out over, an hour or 2. So does that post 1 story, 1 reel on 1 platform? Just 1 reel, 1 reel. That's it, 1 reel. I posted for 1 year and I was speaking out about everything. So some, they say, I'm not niching or targeting anything. So Bledar, that's probably what's preventing you from growing. Is it's great that you want to share all this stuff, but you're so broad that people struggle to connect with you. Here's a really important thing for you guys to take away. Think about it like this. Every follow is a commitment of time to you. Every follow is a commitment of time to you. How many of you guys have thought of it that way before? Whenever someone hits that follow button, they say, I want Andy in my life for 30 seconds a day. And so if they don't know what Andy's going to drop every single day, then you're not necessarily honoring that time. And if we just throw out a post last minute because we haven't thought about anything else, we're not honoring that time. Okay. The people that grow understand that every follower is a commitment of time to them. And every time they spend time with those people, they make that as good a time as they humanly possibly can. They're really focused on having quality time with people whenever they follow them. Every post is about quality time. If all you do is focus on spending quality time with people, you'll win on social. But quality time is not just defined by what you think is interesting. It's defined by what they care about. That's what quality is, because quality is in the eyes of the consumer. Okay, so quality is responding to what they care about, what they watch, what they consume. Andy, do you suggest as soon as we get a follow, we respond? I guess the question should be, why would you not? You're building a community. Jordan, so we want to make some posts that go viral, but then convert content towards our niche for the other, maybe asymmetric content. Yes, so if you want to really grow, you need to make broader content that's more accessible, that fits stuff that other people are making. And then you can keep going broad and look at growth, or you can potentially bookend, more broader, more viral posts with more detailed posts in between. That's very common. Okay, just depends on the rate of growth that you're looking for. Well, this is Gil. He's again, he runs a martial arts dojo. He generated 5 million views in 5 weeks, 70,000 followers in 6 weeks, $20,000 a month in clients, and he just makes videos about training, about fitness training, but for martial arts. We made this format called "What Will Happen Next," because we were thinking, like, what's the number one thing that martial artists like to do? Well, they like to do two things. A, they like to talk about how good they think their own martial arts is, and B, they like to comment on who they think will win in a fight. And so we created a format that knocked people out, says Andy. Exactly, yeah, that's what they love. They love talking about who's going to win, okay? So we made a format that was literally who's going to win, okay? Two martial arts against each other and who's going to win. And then that was the viral content, and then we put in the expert content, which was how to grow your dojo in between. And so we're attracting martial artists and then converting them into dojo customers. It's that simple. It's that simple. Yeah. And so we've done this, I'm conscious of time, but just to kind of say, we've done this with so many different people in so many different spaces, generating so many different views. And what I want for you is to get to a point where you send me a message that looks like this. I am overwhelmed by the number of followers I'm getting. I usually like to DM followers, but I can't keep up with the amount. On Saturday, I hit 2,000 followers. Now I'm at 2,800 followers. I guess that's good to have overwhelmed, right? That's the mess. I want you to send me that message. That you're so overwhelmed with growth that you literally have to message me panicking about how much growth you're getting. Okay, that's the message I want you guys to send. Okay, and it really is sort of that simple. Here's one. So we made a video. This is one of our sports guys here. He talked about fitness in basketball. He made a video and we said, look, tell a story about Shaquille O'Neal, and how Shaq used to be really bad at free throws, and tell a story about, who taught him how to get better at free throws and the importance of that. And so he made that story. It was then reposted by Shaquille O'Neal himself into his stories, and he picked up 10,000 followers overnight. Because we knew what format worked, and then we knew how to tap into the people that were connected to the people that he cared about. And that's the key behind all of this stuff, right? And so what if you did that, right? What if you did that? If you made the content that other people are watching, and then you made it different by bringing your personality to the table, do you think you get more reach? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. If you made stuff that you knew people cared about, that was reflective in the data, you knew people are watching, do you think you get more reach? Yeah, lots of yeses. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, do you think people would trust you more now that you're talking about things that they care about? Yes or no? Would they trust you more if you talk about stuff that they cared about, that you knew they cared about, because the data is showing you? Yeah. Do you think, therefore, because they trusted you more, they would then want your offers? Yes or no? If their level of trust in you is higher, are they more or less likely to want your offers? Lots of yeses. Yeah. And then, therefore, do you think if more people want your offers, you're going to make more sales? Yes or no? I know these are rhetorical questions, but what I really want to do is help you guys break through. Yeah. Okay. That's the key. Is there any way this wouldn't work? Right? Is there any way that sticking to what you're doing, which is guessing on what to make, talking about whatever you want, whether people are interested in it or not, right? Do you think there's any way that what I've just described now is less likely to work than what you're doing now? Yes or no? Okay, that's the key. That's why I really want you guys to sort of take some more and say, if I do this, if I step into this, this is how it's going to work. Okay, because that's ultimately all you need to do to be able to grow, is you just need to be able to make what actually works. Okay, and so our goal here, of course, is to help you guys through that process and help you, because right now, probably from a content perspective, you're probably flying solo right now. You know, you're not quite sure what to create. You don't know how to create it. You don't have time to do that creation, which ends up being very little content created, procrastination, and a lack of consistency. How many of you feel like that? Yeah. Does that sound about you? You don't really know what to create. You don't know how to create it. You're not really outputting a lot of content, procrastinating on the content. Maybe you're stressed out about content, not really sure what to create, and you're struggling with consistency. Does that sound familiar? And of course, all of those things are preventing you from growing. And so what we want to do is remove all of that and put a team behind you so that you can achieve all the things we talked about. Because, you know, I've showed you the strategy on how to do what you need to do. But of course, you also need to make that work happen. And that can be the hard bit. You need a workflow and a team behind you to make that actually happen. And so that's what we do over here, is we do the 3 core things that you guys really struggle with. And we work over here in the studio to help do that for you. The first one is we plan your content for you. So all of that research that I've talked about, knowing what to create, knowing what topics are going viral, knowing what formats to communicate through, all of that research that could take you hours and hours and hours to do, we do that for you. And so we actually put together a specifically designed content plan for you every single month that says, these are the posts you need to make. These posts are hand selected for you to match your brand, to match your style, to match your expertise, to match your workflow, to match your lighting setup, your equipment setup. They are hand selected for you. And these are the posts you need to make. This is the transcript of the content. This is a framework for delivering that content through. This is all of the content planned for you, shot by shot, so that you can go ahead and create that content in a matter of minutes, instead of worrying and stressing about coming up with your own ideas and not knowing what to create. As a sort of a starter question, who here would find that valuable if someone planned all your content out for you? Yeah. And so you didn't have to wake up screaming every morning. Been there. Me, says Landry. That's good. Yeah. So the first one is we plan all that content for you. So now you don't need to do any of that research. We do it all for you. And we do it knowing exactly how to do that research and doing all that variety for you. So now you have a plan, first and foremost, that's going to work for you. The next step is we then edit all of those videos for you. So who here has time to edit videos or even wants to edit your videos, right? It is time consuming, and you guys have got more important things to do, like run your business and edit your videos. And so we edit those videos for you. We edit those videos in a way that we know works, that we know gets you views, that we know increases retention, increases watch time, increases engagement, and gets you views. So we edit those videos for you. We edit those videos to make you look good. We edit those videos to really give you that authority, to show other people, you know, what the authority is when you go ahead and make your videos. We want you to be able to look good in those videos, and that's one of the things that we focus on. And so, you know, one of let me just see if I can just sort of share one of these videos here. Share audio, share tab. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if I can. But we edit those videos for you as well, so that the video looks good, it looks polished, and you don't need to be doing that. That saves you hours and hours every single day. We edit any video, from short form videos to long form YouTube videos. Whatever your content strategy is, you send over the video, we send it back to you. 1 to 2 day turnaround for short form content. So you've got a continuous supply of content. Sean says, I have a little fun editing, but not enough fun. Yeah. Hey, you can always edit any videos you like, but we'll take the 90% off you. You can keep doing the 10%. You can pick and choose the ones that you like, and then we do the rest. Yeah. So we edit those videos for you. Okay. We edit those videos to make you look good. We edit, you know, whether you're communicating motivation, whether you're doing short form, you know, 5-second reels, or whether you're doing face to camera, more, you know, expert stuff, we're going to edit those videos for you so that you look good in those videos. And then we can even schedule that content out for you as well. Put the content out there and schedule it. And then of course coach you, because coaching is really important. Give you that feedback that you need to be able to create the content that you know you need to be able to do, because it's hard. You know, it is hard knowing what you're doing, whether it's right or wrong, and giving you that feedback on those, right? And so that's our goal, is to help coach you on that content as well. And so that way we can tell you what's right and what's wrong, and then we can work with you directly. We work with you guys directly to help you. We look at your content, we tell you what to start, stop, and continue. We give you unique ideas, we keep you motivated, we help you with your content. Because, you know, if you do it yourself, there's always going to be gaps. You're not going to know if you're planning the right content. You're not going to know if your plans align with your niche, whether you're making your content right, if the content's any good, which content to start, stop, continue, what your bio should be, how to engage with, how to run your socials. It's always going to be gaps if you do it on your own. And so what we want to do is help you guys put in a workflow to help you grow. And so those are the core things that we do.